up, y'all? Winter is upon us, and the cold weather means more time indoors and maybe a little bit less time fishing on the water. Maybe for some. I'm out on the water all the time. So you need a new hobby, but you don't want to give up on your fishing, you know what I mean? So how about start making your own wooden fishing lures? So today I'm going to show you an easy and cheap way to make your own wooden poppers. Like the ones that you buy in the store for $9, $12, $15, however much you spend on them. I'm going to show you how to make your own and effective. And like I said, super easy, super cheap. It's just so much fun to be able to sit in the house and work with the hands and do something that you love, and you'll be proud of it when you catch a fish on it. So let's get into it. Alright, y'all. So now I'm going to show you what I used in order to make my lure. You guys can do whatever you'd like and switch it up, or maybe you have a better idea on how to do it. Awesome. If you do, share it in the comments. I'm down to learn all types of new stuff. I am in no fact an expert at this. I just started making them the past week. I've only made a couple. I just wanted to share and show you guys how I do it, so maybe it gives you some ideas in order to make your own. So this is the one I made a couple days ago. This is my shad popper. I don't know if you can see the glitter and the shine on this thing. I think it came out pretty decent. It walks really well in the water. It shines really well, the nice shimmer. So I think it'll catch fish. I gave it a try today. So first things first, obviously, paint. This is the Shimmer Pen I was telling you about. I think it works really well. This is a little bit more expensive. It's $7, but you don't, obviously, you're not going to use as much of it. And then the rest is, just cheap $2, $3 paints. Next thing, Treble Hooks. $4 at Walmart, Self-explanatory. So the next thing is these split rings. These are the cheap ones. You're gonna want, for bigger fish, you're gonna want, a much thicker metal if you're catching big fish. I just bought these because I was in a rush, and it was $2.80 for a whole bunch of them. But it did hold up today. I casted it up onto the shore and got stuck in some grass, and they did not bend at all. And you're gonna use these split rings to attach your hook to your screw eye that goes into your lure. So obviously the next thing that's next, screw eyes. 100 pack, $6 at Home Depot. Not bad. So then the next thing that you're going to want, because you're going to use them on your screw eyes, is the quick setting epoxy. This is going to make sure that they are not going to come out of your popper, at any given time. You just want to get a good set in there so that way they don't spin, move, or pull out. And then the next thing, some sealer. I like to use the clear semi-gloss, so that way it doesn't dull your paint at all, or whatever you have on your lure that you want to stand out. And then that's like $8, $7. This was like $4 or $5. And then this is a little paintbrush, so that way you can put on your sealer very easily without gooping it on there. It's like a 30 pack at Walmart for 98 cents. And then I also bought a Dremel. You don't need a Dremel. But this was super cheap at Walmart. It was like $16, and I just knew it would be a lot easier. The only reason I use this is not for the outside of the lure. I don't touch it with the outside, only for the inside on the mouth. That's the only reason I use it. Then the next thing, pine. We're going to be using pine today. I used poplar on my last lure on this one, and the other ones. I heard pine is a lot better. The texture on this wood's a lot smoother and a lot nicer. I think pine's going to work a lot better, so we're going to give that a try. And then last but not least, you're going to need a knife. So this knife was $4 at Walmart. It does the job. It does dull a little bit quickly, so I just bought another $4, one of those quick little knife sharpeners, and I just sharpen it real quick every once in a while. But this knife has held up to the test. It's just an Ozark Trail, $4 at Walmart. Can't beat the price. And that's it. This is everything. So if you don't want to use the Dremel, you're not looking at a lot of money here to get started. And then once you have it, you have it. And you can make a whole bunch of lures before you run out. So let's get into it. So first things first, you want to get your wood, right? You're going to cut however big you want your lure to be. I typically would start a little bit bigger so that way you can for your first one, so you can kind of figure out what you want to do with it and kind of how you're going to do it. It's your first lure, it's going to be trial and error. So first thing you're going to do, I would cut about 5 to 6 inches, maybe right about here, cut it across, and then we'll get started from there. I also forgot to add, you're going to obviously need a saw in order to cut your wood. So let's go cut it. Alright, y'all, so now that you cut, you know, your 6-inch or however big block that you wanted, next thing you want to do, you might as well pour yourself a beer. It's a Saturday night, you're chilling, you're about to start doing the tedious process of hand carving this, so why not grab yourself a beer? We're drinking today by Commonwealth Brewing Company, a Wapatuli Tropical India Pale Ale, Virginia Beach beer. It's actually really good. I was never a fan of IPAs. I'm loving them now. Super good beer. So now that you poured yourself a beer, you're going to get your knife out, and you're going to start hand carving your knife. You're going to pretty much just keep going until you starts rounding out. You know, essentially you're going to try and get this shape. It's going to look a little rough, and then after you get the kind of shape that you're looking for, you're going to sand it. So let's get to it. Alright, another step that I forgot to mention was I like to cut an angle with the saw on your 6-inch block. You just cut like corner, you know, from the corner. Just do a little angle. That's going to be your mouth of your popper. Alright, so now making some progress. Now we're starting to round it out, and now you're just going to kind of shape it into your lure. Going to start really working on the ends over here. That way you can start to round out the back, and then you do the same with the front. Let's get to it. Alright, y'all. So now that you're starting to kind of get the shape of a popper from carving it, what you're going to want to do, what at least I like to do, is I start going and trying to narrow in the end, kind of giving it that round off. So as you can see, starting to kind of chip away at the end of the popper, so that way we can start getting ready to kind of narrow it and really start shaping this into a popper, and we'll go from there. She chewed up my last one. Now she's all scared because I got mad at her. Alright, so now this is what I call the somewhat rewarding point, because now you have a piece of wood that you just hand carved starting to look somewhat like a popper. You know, it's still a little rough around the edges. You know, maybe 1 or 2 more layers you want to take off to kind of get those center humps out and stuff like that from holding it like this and like this. But, you know, this is the part where you're like, alright, maybe all this work and effort wasn't for nothing. And I promise you, it wasn't for nothing. Because once you finish it, you're going to be so proud. And when you cast that popper into the water, you're going to be hyped. So let's get to the next part, which is take a couple more layers off, like that, and then start sanding it. Hell yeah. Alright, y'all, so now that you're done with a few layers of sanding, and you got the shape that you wanted, now we're going to do the Dremel, and we're going to carve out the mouth, essentially. So what I like to do is I like to put a few holes along the outside, and then a couple on the inside, and then I'll come in and I'll actually finish the carving. That way I don't go too far around the outside. Alright, y'all, so the next thing we're going to do after you just re-sanded it down after finishing the mouth, we're going to put the screw eyes in. So that's when you're going to use your epoxy. You're going to want to mark the holes with the screw eyes, wherever you want to put them, so that way you know where they are. And then you're going to pour some epoxy, dip your screw eye in it, and screw it in. So let's do it. Alright. So now that you got your screw eyes in about halfway, that just helps guide them in easier after you put the epoxy on them, because you're going to pull them back out, dip them, put them back in, because sometimes they're a real pain in the butt, and this is, you know, quick setting epoxy, you know, and your fingers will get all slippery, and it's just a pain in the butt. So I like to do a small pre-hole first, make sure they line up exactly where you want, and alright, let's go put the epoxy on. And sometimes if you can't get it in, helps to use pliers as well. So you're going to do this for all 3 of your screw eyes or however many you're putting into the lure that you're making. Alright y'all, so now that we got the screw eyes in there and we let it dry, we're going to do the sealer. We're just going to put a coat over it. This is a softwood, so this will kind of add an extra layer of coating on it prior to when we paint it. Also let the paint stick a little better than to just bare wood. So let's go ahead and just add a quick layer. We're just going to add it with a small paintbrush. Make sure you get everything inside the mouth, everything. Alright y'all, now we're going to wait for that coat of sealer to dry, and I figured I'd show you real quick. My green terror just laid some eggs. I don't know if you could see him on top of the rock. He was getting ready to lay them last night, or she was, so pretty awesome. Alright y'all, so once your sealer's dried, you're going to move on to the paint. I'm trying a new different style, new colors, so I'm going to put a first layer of white all across the whole lure. And then I'm going to go and use the blue, and I'm going to spray the top, and I'm going to fade it towards the belly of the lure. And then I'm going to do the opposite with the glitter, and I'm going to go from the white and then fade it to the blue. Trying to give it that like nice blend of colors with the glitter, and then maybe little black spots along the sides or something like that. We'll see how it comes out, so let's do it. Alright, the first coat of white paint is on. Let it dry, and then we'll go to this next coat of paint. Alright, time for the blue coat. Alright y'all, the blue was a little bit thicker than I anticipated, so it was a little bit harder to get a nice blend going, but I think it came out alright. We're going to proceed in a minute to the glitter paint to give it that nice shine for the water. Just gotta kind of speed up the process because it's about to get dark outside, so let's do it. Alrighty y'all, take a look at that. This camera's really not picking it up that well, but that looks sweet. I love this paint because you can literally use any color and it goes on, doesn't mess up the paint that you want it to be, just adds that awesome glitter in there. Sweet. Alrighty y'all, I'm just adding a couple layers of, not a couple layers, just a light dusting of black on the top of it to kind of give it that fading look to it. You know how most fish are black on top, white on bottom, or lighter colored on bottom, so trying to give it that more natural effect. I think it came out pretty good. So, alright, now we're adding the sealer. You're going to want to add a couple coats because, you know, you're going to be throwing this into the water, so you want to make sure it's got a few layers of sealer on it. Make sure that the paint, the wood is all well protected. Alright y'all, my camera might die, so just in case I have to wrap up the video, once you put your few layers of sealer on, it's all dry, ready to go. You want it to sit for at least 24 hours at the minimum. And you're going to add the split rings to the lure, and then that's how you're going to attach your treble hooks, and then you are ready to go hit the water. Well, I hope y'all enjoyed this tutorial on how to make your own popper. Let's get out there, catch some fish, tight lines, y'all.